However, Tosfos and the Ram Shif actually discusses that, so it would even be Rashi's opinion says that this in discussion is only if there was Nesuin between this couple for which he now became a Shemeres Yavam. But if there wasn't even Nesuin, if there was only Erison, he suggests the obligation would strictly be on her family. And the basis for this Gemara's question, the way the Rishonim discuss, is do we say that the reason Chazal said that a woman has to be buried, a wife has to be buried by her husband, is because, some Rishonim explain, because the nedunya that her family provides obligates the husband to bury her. Some explain that the ksuba is what obligates her, his entitlement, that he will not have to pay the ksuba, is what obligates him to bury her. And since in this situation, her husband's family is going to be getting all of these assets, that's why they should have to bury her. But do we say, since she really wasn't married to this man, to the Yavam, so therefore he's not the person who has to bury her? Or as I saw other Rishonim point out, that maybe the halacha that Chazal said that a husband has to bury a wife was only said where there's only one Yorush. Under normal circumstances, when a wife passes away, her husband is her sole Yorush. But as we discussed at the beginning of our shir, that is clearly not the case by Shemeres Yavam, and therefore the halacha is that maybe then the husband doesn't have to pay for the burial. I did see that there's a machlokes Rishonim that say that the way to understand the Gemara's question is as follows. Everybody agrees that if the halacha will be that the Yarshi Habal, that the husband's Yarshim are the ones that have to bury her, everybody will agree that they have to do solely, they would have to do that by themselves, and that the husband, and that her Yarshim do not have to participate in her burial. The question that some of these Rishonim discuss is what's going to be the halacha when if we say that the Yarshi have to bury her? Does that mean that the Yarshei Av bury her alone? Or there's some Rishonim that suggest that there was never a Havamina that the Yarshei have, that her family has to bury her by themselves. The Gemara's only discussion was that if the husband's Yarshim bury her, they have to do so themselves. But if her relatives bury her, then the halacha is that that both of them, her Yarshim and her husband's Yarshim, will participate together in her burial. So the Rishonim ask a question. We've learned many times in Am Sechta that that the Kvura is clearly connected to the Ksuba. So if the Kvura is connected to the Ksuba, and we're learning that her husband's Yarshim will not have to pay her Ksuba, so therefore certainly they should be the ones that have to bury her. What is the question? So the simple pshat that the Mefarshim, the Chacham Shlomo, say that when we use the word ksuba and kvura traveling together, it doesn't necessarily mean the payment of the ksuba. It could well mean the nichsei tzoyin basil, which we said the nichsei tzoyin basil belong with her family. Another discussion that they have is what's going to be the halacha if there are no nichsei malug. That the nichsei malug, which we said belongs to her family, this woman did not have any nichsei malug, then we should say, well, her family are getting the nichsei malug, so therefore they should have to bury her. Is it a function of each particular case, some Rishonim suggest, or is it a function that we look, what are we going to do with all Shemeres Yavam, and now look at every case individually? Amar V'Amar Tashma, the Tanya Shemeres Yavam Shemesa,